Welcome, race fans, to the second round of the iAmericanCanadian Tour. You're going to see all of the racing for the entire season right here on the Maconi Entertainment. This is a 5-week series featuring real-world competitors thrown into a virtual setting with an even playing field. That means fixed setups, equal equipment, and the raw talent to bring home that checkered flag at the end of the day. $400 total in prize pool is up for grabs at the end of the season, all courtesy of some great series sponsors: GossCars.com, Pard Brothers Racing, and the Thunder Road Super Bowl. Tonight's challenge is a familiar 1-mile track up north, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, for 50 laps in the super late model cars. My name is Joey Atterbury, and joining me in the booth is Nolan Rempel. Our producers, Ryan Bauer, and the camera angles being used have been provided by Dougie Beard. Race control for the event is Brandon Davis, and he's going to be keeping an eye on all of the action on track and throwing those yellow flags for us. Nolan, New Hampshire Motor Speedway is a staple of oval racing here in the Northeast, and the American-Canadian Tour has visited this exact track and had some incredible races in the real world. Tell us a little bit more about this beloved venue.
It's called the Magic Mile for a reason. Boy, is New Hampshire Motor Speedway ever a track that can provide some absolutely entertaining racing. It is Martinsville, but make it more. Longer straights, longer corners, a little bit more banking, and a heck of a lot more draft is going to play a big hand in how this race could pan out. The draft effective up to 0.7 of a second back down the straightaways. So in these super late models, it's going to be oh so important to get the good runs out of turn numbers 2, but especially off of turn 4 to get some good drag races down to the start-finish line.
The ever-important turn 4, that drag race to the start-finish line. Now we're going to take a look at the various races we're going to see here tonight, and the feature is going to have 50-lap race, 1 fast repair, 1 green-white checkered attempt, and then check that out, a fixed setup by Maconi Setup Shop. So all of the cars out here are on an identical setup. No speed difference when it comes to it. But before we get to those 50 laps, we're actually going to have a series of heat races and even a consolation race before we get going on the main feature tonight. And none of it would be possible without our partners here and at the iAmericanCanadian Tour, GossCars.com, a new and used car sales as well as expert car maintenance and care using skilled technicians. Goss, Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, and Jeep there in South Burlington, Vermont. Pard Brothers Racing, race-winning parts provider at the Thunder Road Super Bowl there in Colchester, Vermont, and also Maconi Setup Shop. Head on over to www.maconisetupshop.com. There's various subscriptions and broadcasting options available on that Maconi Entertainment tab. Visit that website, maconisetupshop.com, and Jeff will make sure you're getting all taken care of out there and gonna get things rolling pretty quick, Nolan, because already have our starting grid. Starting out on our initial pole is Casey Beattie there in the number 45. Lining up alongside him is Robbie Douglas, Taylor Huard there in 3rd place, Justin Prescott 4th, Aaron Maynard 5th, Reese Bode 6th, Jeff Coate 7th, and Regan Parent 8th, and one more, Joey Israelson there in the 9 cars in this first heat we're going to see tonight.
9 cars for heat race number 1, 8 cars for heat races 2 through 4. This is, of course, going to be followed up by 1 consolation race. Top 4 will be taken from each of these 10-lap heats. I'll fill the rest of the grids up in that one and only consolation race. So the first 4 of 16 going to get set to see who's going to be moving on to the feature event here tonight from the Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Ace car's already coming off turn 4. We're going to get the green flag, and I don't know if you saw, but the track temp is well over 100 degrees, and have to keep an eye on the car slip sliding around today. But number 45 is looking for the green flag in Barney the flagman's hand, already on the loud pedal. Got a great jump from the first 2 rows. It was the number 48 that got really bogged down there on that initial start, and here we see Casey Beattie already out to the lead and a car in the wall.
The car to the outside wall, it's Parent who gets up into it again, coming around through turn numbers 3 and 4. That happened when the 44 of Justin Prescott got loose, coming on down into turn number 1, had to chase the car up the track. Prescott got out of that unscathed, but Regan Parent not so lucky in the number 21 car. Israelson gonna bump doors with the number 27 of Robert Douglas down the front straightaway, back down into turn number 1. Up front, it is, of course, Casey Beatty to lead lap number 1 of the day. You're right on board with Reese Bouge as we run it back down off of turn number 2.
Well, looking back at Joey Israelson right now in that number 34 car, and here we see actually Robbie Douglas try to come up on the inside of Israelson, doesn't make that run happen and falls out of the momentum, but Joey Israelson started way back there, our last car in this heat, already up into 3rd place, and most crucially, that's a transfer position into the feature.
Not only a transfer position, the last transfer position as Jeff Cote runs back at the 5th spot, 1 spot out. Robbie Douglas set it on the bubble, and here's the move. Jeff Cote throwing it down the inside into turn numbers 3 and 4, trying to get the drive off, but look at Douglas pinning them down onto the bottom. Douglas gets the drive off of turn number 4. He'll maintain that 4th and final spot coming off of turn number 4. Down the front straight in turn 1. Cote again trying to sand it in. We're going to go 3 wide for a brief moment. Douglas in the middle, and it's going to be Israelson to pull the top shelf.
Whoa, but Cote hung out that right rear quarter panel on Robbie Douglas and wore him out a little bit. Gets that 4th place position, and that's that crucial final transfer spot, spot number 4. And looking ahead there, that's Israelson in 3rd, Reese Bogue there a 2nd, and Casey Beatty really running away with this first heat. After the initial lap, there hasn't had any pressure in the mirrors of this number 45 car. It's really all been battling for that 4th spot, but now things seem to be calmed down a little bit on the racetrack. And Nolan, what I was seeing out there is the momentum can really carry you. Go ahead.
Trouble in the background. Robbie Douglas up and over in turn numbers 3 and 4. He saw it at the tail end of shot. Douglas going to get it rolling, but a huge crash for the 27 coming off in turn number 3.
So unfortunate for the 27. Staying green here on the racetrack, and actually look at this. Jeff Cote trying to get up that 3rd spot away from Joey Israelson, and this goes to my point. Seems like the top line, you can really hold that momentum. The bottom line gets choked up as we get this replay here of what exactly happened to Robbie Douglas.
He got a bit loose. The 44 scrambled on the bottom, couldn't have any control to slip back up. The 27 was sent hard into the outside wall in 3. And this will be a good shot of the head on. Watch the 27 fishtailing all over the racetrack. On board with Prescott. Prescott to scramble down low. Once again, that grass, though, jumping over the access roads, there's nothing you can do. Prescott was a passenger.
Absolutely, you know, and I gotta say, I did not see that coming from the initial replay. And that was pretty impressive. Had the target acquisition and got him right out of the way there. Heat-seeking missile. But still, nothing changes up front. Casey Beatty over 1 second gap ahead of that number 4 car. Jeff Cote now actually got that 3rd place position away from Joey Israelson, and Israelson actually falling back a little bit. I don't think he's going to be a threat to go down to that 5th place from Regan Parent right now, but got to be careful not to make any more mistakes.
Absolutely, got to always be kind of on your toes here. And while these guys might be a bit more separated up at the front of the field, it can only take that 1 split-second decision to cost yourself a lot of time. You mentioned, of course, the track temps really hot right now, over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a good 30 degrees hotter than it is in the air. That means it is a very slippery track surface out there. And guys, Joey Israelson, we saw early on, were struggling when they were still on cold tires. Just come down to take that white flag. It's looking to be smooth sailing. Israelson doesn't have to push it to catch 3rd. He's already safe where he's at.
Yeah, the first white flag of the night here going to the number 45 Casey Beatty. Just got to keep it together for another 3/4 of a lap here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And no real battles going on for any transfer spots. 45 has just got to get hard on the brakes one more time. Roll the speed here through turns 3 and 4. Keep it up out of the marbles, and 45 is going to collect the first checkered flag. Heat win number 1 of the night. Reese Bogue, 2nd place. Jeff Cote there, you saw trying to steal away that 2nd place, comes home 3rd. Get the official results here as everybody rolls across here. And so I mentioned is Casey Beatty taking home the win. Reese Bogue 2nd place. Jeff Cote 3rd. Joey Israelson 4th. Regan Parent, Aaron Maynard, Justin Prescott, Robbie Douglas, and then Taylor Huar. They're rounding out the 9 cars, a few of those with those problems that we saw early on. And immediately we get heat number 2, gridded up. I see a familiar last name, different first name. Brian Huar there leading this one off, and Trent Goodrow in the second place position. Chris Fisher third, Joel Hodgson fourth, Bert Duffy, Aaron Plemons sixth, Ty Delphia, and PJ Evans there in the 8th place. Now, I recognize PJ Evans. He is our first round winner, so let's keep an eye on that number 35 car.
How about that? You go from being first round winner back to starting stone dead last in heat race number 2. But I think you can expect to see him fight up through the field in very quick order here, just like we saw guys like Reese Bogue, Jeff Cote, and Joey Israelson fight from the back half of your first heat race to finish up at the transfer spots. It's not something terribly uncommon to see when you get these kinds of pill draw events here, where we don't have a qualified order set at the start. It is all randomized. And you know what? I don't say this often enough. I think more leagues should do something like this. It just creates that little bit of excitement that makes the heat races don't feel so much like just getting busy work out of the way.
It's a little bit of a variable introduced to the grid, definitely, and even along those lines, I love when they do a grid invert for maybe the top 10 or top 15, kind of the same idea, to shake things up a little bit, get everybody on their toes. But here comes the pace car onto pit road. Brian Huar in the 37, checking out for that green flag from Barney, and really good launch from both competitors in the front row. Trent Goodrow gonna take it side by side here down into turn 1, and we've seen this high line be able to prevail with the top end down the straightaway, but looks like the 37 is gonna slide up in front, and oh, no problems with Trent, and more problems in the back. We got 3 cars involved with this one.
Trent Goodrow, the first driver from second place, getting collected. I think that was Bert Duffy further in the back that collected, along with Hodgson, that all got punted around. So big crash for several drivers inside of your main transfer positions. And gonna take a look at the Maconi Entertainment replay, and you're gonna see that 31 car again, just as we saw in the opening heat race, got loose, chasing up the track, and he's gonna get run over by the 71 of Chris Fisher, who's got damage, along with PJ Evans. I think the only driver that got out of that completely unscathed beside the race leader was Ty Delphia. Everybody else has some form of damage or another. And meanwhile, the wreck that happened further in the back, that was completely separate, as Joel Hodgson kind of got chased up the track. He got clipped by Plemons, who went down and just wiped out Bert Duffy.
You're right. Pretty much 2 separate incidents going on here. And you mentioned it, Ty just sneaking through on the inside here, and get a few more camera angles as we are under yellow and a few cars get involved. Here you see, yeah, 2 totally different cars impacting that outside wall. The 31 about halfway down the straightaway, and then that separate incident was really exiting turn number 2, and a lot of cars caught up in that one. I'm seeing, what, about 3 cars, maybe 4 with damage out there?
And pretty much everybody, bar the 13, and of course the race leader, the 37 of Huar, are getting with damage involved in this one. Some drivers have come down to take fast repairs, but for the most part, drivers stay out there on the racetrack. Actually, the tail of the field is Goodrow and Hodgson. They both just came down to get damage repaired. Bert Duffy also took his quick repair, but you've still got Fisher, Evans, and Plemons, all with a whole lot of damage that they're going to have to try to contend with as we come down to the restart.
Yeah, you called it. Restart time, and a little bit of games being played, some wheel spin going on, and we got chaos. How did the cars keep it straight going on the front straightaway right there? I think we had wheel spin from both of our racers on the front row, and then just everything came in from behind. I don't know how we're still racing.
Not quite wheel spin, more of a misshift on behalf of Chris Fisher, and he got run over by Aaron Plemons coming on down the front straightaway. So for Fisher, it was just happened to be a mistime. Shifter got put the car to neutral, and obviously got hit up the backside before he could find himself in with a good run. Fights off at the final transfer spot. Ty Delphia currently holds at the number 13, but Trent Goodrow trying to find the bottom lane as we'll look back up to the top 3. PJ Evans trying to make a charge for the race lead to get around the 37. He's got the draft down the back straightaway and making a look for the inside. He's going to dive it down the inside. The Evans Carpentry and HVAC Unlimited Chevrolet to the inside of the Charger. He'll pull clear on the turn number 4. Not quite. It's a drag race down the front straightaway.
Yeah, but PJ Evans now has the track position if he wants to. He can dive down really deep here into turn 1, but he chooses to really play it fair, leave that lane for the 37 up top, and to our front row, PJ Evans claiming that top spot. Now, Nolan, you said, hey, he's all the way in the back. What are the chances? But here he is, leading the race with 5 laps to go.
Like I mentioned, I thought we might see PJ Evans come from the back to work his way up, and that's exactly what we're starting to see here. He's pulling away. We ride on board with Ty Delphia, currently holding 5th spot, trying to chase out the Trent Goodrow for the final transfer spot with 3.5 laps now left to go as we hit it down the back straight away. You got the Bud machine here trying to chase after Trent Goodrow, and Goodrow's still doing a good job trying to hang it in. He's taking a very wide arc through turn numbers 3 and 4. You see that, right? He's trying to arc it in wide to get the diamond off the corner of turn number 4 to get the better run down the straightaway. So far, that has been, for the most part, working for him. But Ty Delphia, gradually closing it on in. You just got to be careful that you don't send it in too deep. You don't want to find yourself washing up. Oh, hello, the 37 going around to the back straightaway.
What a gift right there for Ty, and unfortunately, that was Brian Huar going around just by himself off of turn number 2, and I think he was just a little happy with the throttle pedal. Car got loose on him, didn't hit the wall, spun it to the inside, but now this makes the number 13. Ty is in that transfer spot. He doesn't have to go up there and try to pass Trent Goodrow anymore, and I think that's a big sigh of relief, because even behind Ty, it's a huge gap back there to now the 5th place.
The furthest driver back is, as mentioned, the 5th place driver, who now has over 6 seconds to himself in the 4th place. So these guys can take it down easy straight and just go for a Sunday drive, as they'll take 1 lap left to go in heat race number 2. It is still Evans to lead the way from Clemens, from Goodrow, from Delphia for the transfer spots. A couple of drivers have found those down and out of the race, among those being the likes of Chris Fisher, who sits 1 lap down.
Well, and PJ Evans just has to keep it together for another half a corner here, coming out of turn number 4, rolling on the throttle, little bit of yaw angle coming out of turn 4 there, and across the line, claiming heat number 2 win. PJ Evans straight to his familiar spot up top in the front. Well, you saw PJ Evans take that win. Aaron Clemens, 2nd place. Trent Goodrow, 3rd. Ty Delphia there, 4th place. Brian Huar, 5th. Bert Duffy, 6th. Joel Hodgson, 7th. And Chris Fisher, 1 lap down there in the 8th place position. And impressive stuff, that heat from PJ Evans, starting all the way in the back, going straight to the front and claiming that heat win. And here comes heat race number 3. Zach Audit there on the pole position. Ethan Tyrell, 2nd place. Arthur Jordan, 3rd. Corey Paya, 4th. Kerry Krenner in the 5th place position. Caden Fisher, 6th. Jason Ricker, 7th. And Juan Marshall, 8th. Rounding out the 8 cars here. Now, Nolan, we've watched 2 heats of racing so far. What have we learned?
Don't try to push it on cold tires, I think, is kind of the big one that these drivers have had to learn the hard way so far, especially your heat race 2 drivers. We saw some problems in heat race number 1 when we got to the cold rubber, especially coming around through 1 and 2, but heat race 2, I think, kind of showed that it is absolutely going to be a huge problem for these drivers. The track temperature has cooled slightly. It's down from 108 to 105, but still definitely far from optimal temperatures out there. So worrying about definitely watch the car on the seams with the cold rubber. That's going to be the big thing for these drivers here in these opening laps. Make sure that car is still in one piece by the time you get around to the opening 2.
I agree with you. I think cold tires are something to manage here, and especially with the chaos we saw there in Heat 2. And I think we saw 2 very different heats. Heat 1 was very clean. Heat 2 had a little bit of mayhem. And see what the 3rd one brings for us as pace car comes off the racetrack down onto pit road, and the 09 looks for that green flag in the acceleration zone, and a few more cars having some problems getting going. I see the number 23 of Corey Paya back there with a few issues getting the car through the gears, but it is Zach out front right now with Ethan Tyrell in 2nd place, and the 18 getting a wicked loose coming off of turn 2.
And even the 4 had to back off, entering turn numbers 3 and 4. He's going to get hit by the 11 and almost spin it around. Arthur Jordan going to maintain the car. No, he will not. He's going going to spin it down the inside. Can he keep it out of pit road? Just barely. No caution. We'll keep it green. But I mentioned Jordan had to kind of lift off the throttle, got a bit tight coming off of turn number 2 towards the back straightaway, so we had to avoid hitting the outside wall. On board with Krenner as he'll take it to the back straightaway. The 11, trying to see if he can run down Caden Fisher's number 18 for the final transfer spot as we hightail it down into turn numbers 3 and 4, which has been so far one of the cleanest openings to a heat race we've had so far all day.
Yeah, and riding on board here, looking back at Kerry Krenner, because that is the transfer spot. Caden Fisher in 4th place position in the black car on the screen, and then Kerry Krenner in the number 11. That's the yellow car there, 5th place in line. And these heats go by really, really fast. Already coming up, going to be lap number 4 of 10. And before you know it, we're going to be halfway through here. And you never really get a chance to catch your breath with 10 laps of racing. It's almost like 10 qualifying laps with your elbows out the whole time.
You're right on board with the window led, and now with the dash of Caden Fisher as he has to scramble to chase the car. He's trying to close up the Jason Ricker for that number 3 spot on the racetrack, trying to dive it into 3 and 4. You can see the 2nd through 4th place drivers all under a blank. You need the Tyrrell going to get loose off of 4. You'll chase it down to the bottom, give the run for Ricker up on the top shelf, but the 23 ME machine still holding strong as he runs it down to turn numbers 1 and 2. Has a break earlier though. Fisher trying to send it up the middle. Will he be able to get the run here coming off of turn number 2 to the back straightaway? He'll get around Ethan Tyrrell for 3rd, but he'll have to wait a little bit longer to go after Jason Ricker to go for that 2nd position.
Yeah, Ethan Terrell yields those positions, and looks like Caden Fisher in that yellow 18. I miscalled it earlier that it's Caden Fisher in that yellow car in that yellow 18, and then following Jason Ricker now, and Zachary Audit up there has really checked out, almost a 2nd in front of the number 9 car. But these are the 4 transfer cars, and got to go way back there to Kerry Krenner, a full 2nd between 4th and 5th place position. So as long as these top 4 cars keep it clean, they will all transfer into that main. And I know that's a lot to ask of racing car drivers, to just keep it together and stay calm out there. It just doesn't always happen on the playground.
And no, it's not too often that it happens on the playground. Drivers, when they tend to hear, hey, back off a little bit, they tend to go a little bit harder just to prove that they can. And this happens both in sim and in the real world alike. We've seen it countless times again, and no doubt we're going to be seeing it even a few more times over the course of the night as Fisher still tries to hang on for that 3rd position. You look a bit further back, this is Kerry Krenner sitting in that 5th spot right outside of the transfer spots. There's the fight for 2nd place. Ricker still doing a good job on hanging on to it so far, but you can tell Fisher trying to throw one up the inside, entering these corners to try to see if he can get the move. But the problem that Fisher's got here at the moment, Joe, is the fact that it's so hard for him to stick a momentum run on the inside. He'll go for it though, down to 3.
Yeah, and try and run kind of the 2nd lane Caden Fisher is trying to do. Trying not to go all the way down to get that choked point there. And actually going to be a drag race coming off of turn 2 with 2 laps to go. Caden Fisher once again on the lower lane there in the number 18 car. Slides up the racetrack just a little bit. Jason Ricker holding tough on the outside. And the number 9 car just got a little bit high coming off of turn number 2 there. And Caden Fisher slips right underneath for that 2nd place position. And important to note that I think if they stuck together, they might have hunted down our leader in the 09 car. But here we got the white flag, 1 lap to go for Zachary Audit in front. And he's really ran a perfect race ever since he got clear there in turn number 1. Hasn't made a mistake out front. And all he's got to do is keep it together for 1 more half of a lap, 2 more turns. And he is going to claim heat race number 3. Checkered flag is out of turn number 4 he comes. And Barney, yeah, grab that right flag. There we go. There's the checkers out. Zachary Audit wins this one. Caden Fisher 2nd place. Jason Ricker rounds out the podium.
1 heat race remaining on the night before we get set to go race for the 1 consolation. And then, of course, our 50-lap feature event as Krenner, Marshall, Paya, and Jordan all going to have to try to cut their teeth in the consolation race just a little while to see if they can't try to get themselves the last few spots up for grabs.
Absolutely there. And thank you for running through that for me. And here we got heat number 4. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this should be the final heat of the night. Bradley Bushy going to be leading us off to the green flag. Derek Glachocki, second place position. Now, Derek actually finished second in our first round of the this series last week, so keep an eye on that 03 car. Plenty of speed out of Derek. Tyler Connolly there in third place. Brian Rogers Jr. fourth. Brandon Meyer fifth. Tyler Jordan sixth. Jason Goodbout and Jimmy Herbert are going to round out the 8 cars. And all right, Nolan, let's pull out the crystal ball. We saw clean heat 1, messy heat 2, pretty clean heat 3. Are we going to see messy or clean here for heat number 4?
It's going to be a hit or miss, and I can tell you what, I'm going to keep my eyes on that number 52 car. Bradley Bushy has been sent to the tail of the longest line by request, according to race control. So that's going to be an interesting one then, to see how Bushy is going to navigate this field. He was due to start on the pole for this heat race, but he's opting to start way back in the 8th spot from the outside line.
Yeah, have to see how this one plays off. As Dodgeball says, that's an interesting strategy, Cotton. Gonna have to see how that one plays off. So that means, let's see here, it's gonna be the 00. That's Tyler Connolly down low. Up front, Derek Glachocki still on that outside position in those purple wheels in that 03, and really late to get to the gas, both of the competitors. And Derek is actually gonna get to the line first with a great run on the outside. Gonna try to push his luck here into turn number 1. Power move from the 03 as he gets pretty yawed out in the middle, but Derek Glachocki to the point.
Bit of contact in the back as Jason Goodbout had to go to the inside after he banged doors with Tyler Jordan. They'll keep it sorted though, and we'll keep ourselves rolling here for heat race number 4. Brian Rogers tucks in line and goes single file all throughout this 8-car field for the lead. Connolly trying to make the move on Glachocki down to the turn number 1. He had to bring him in earlier, but he gets the run from the inside. The 00 trying to power up. He won't be able to do it. Glachocki pulls from the high side.
Oh, it's those cold tires you were talking about, and they can bite really quickly. You see the cars really wiggling around, trying to get their footing underneath them. And right now, Jimmy Herbert in the 58 is trying to hunt down Tyler Jordan there in the number 29 car. He's sitting in the 4th place position, and here goes Tyler Jordan down low, trying to get some track position on Brandon Meyer in the 33, but that's actually going to open the door in contact between the 58 and 29.
Hang on as he'll get himself sorted. Still hangs on for that 4th and final transfer spot, but now he's got Goodbout looking to his inside. These two drivers bang doors on the opening lap, and Goodbout now going to take over the 4th position. Now, for those at home that might be wondering why the heck you would try to go for a move when you could have yourself secure, is Jordan going to go for the over-under on the 17? Every spot you gain in this heat race, if you make it in, that equals to 4 extra spots that are going to be started up when you get down to the feature event starting grid. That's why it is oh so important. For example, if you pass up from the 2nd driver to take the win in the heat race, that puts you up from 8th on the grid to 4th in this one and only heat race here. So Bradley Bush, you're going to have to maintain the run against Herbert, and Tyler Jordan now falls outside of the transfer spots from a mistake all on his own, getting too aggressive early on.
You're right, that contact definitely hurting there. And here we're right on board with Bradley Bushy as he has a huge moment and gets into the outside wall himself there. And maybe it's not just the tire warm-up phase, but you got to be really careful rolling onto the throttle here with these super late model cars. They seem to be a little bit on edge out here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. But if you ask me, if I'm a driver, I would much rather have a car that turns than a car that doesn't turn at all. And at least that way I can modulate it with the right foot. And just as I say that, the 29 of Tyler Jordan had a huge moment. And looking out the back of the number 33, Brandon Meyer, and Jason Goodbout trying to hunt him down. And you mentioned it, each one of these positions helps you out a little bit more in the feature.
You mentioned, of course, as well, that it might not just be the cold tires and how careful you have to be rolling onto the throttle. Remember, these cars have 550 horsepower, and only 2,800 pounds underneath them. So that's 550 horsepower being sent to the rear wheels. The weight to power ratio is about 1 horsepower for every 5 pounds on these cars. That is insanely light when you compare it to some other cars, like for example, the V8 supercars, or even the proper next-gen stock cars here on the iRacing service. These cars do not take a lot to get spun around. That's why you see them getting so loose here. These are the highest cornering speeds we're going to be seeing just about all season long, and also some of the most aggressive corner exit speeds because of how powerful the draft can be down the straightaway and how important it is to get a good run as well.
Here we are riding along board with Jimmy Herbert, and you mentioned the great run that you need to come out, and looking ahead of Herbert, I believe that was Tyler Jordan really hanging out the tail end of the car, and that's not what you want to do if you're trying to get the forward drive down the straightaway. And this is the 33 still hounding the back of Jason Goodbout and just trying to get that final third place position here. And Brandon Meyer, I think, knows he's in an okay spot. He's in fourth place position. He's going to transfer in, so I don't think he's putting too much pressure on Jason in front of him, but he's definitely staying in the mirrors. And there's the white flag already for Derek Lachocki out front. Once he got out front off of that initial start with that move around the outside, he has really said goodbye to the rest of the field. Oh, big wiggle just as I say that. Derek, I didn't mean to put the commentator's curse on you. Just like this. Here he comes, purple wheels and all. Out of turn 4, keep it together, not too much on the throttle there. Derek is going to take heat race number 4, checkered flag, and the rest of the competitors roll underneath Barney here and finish out these heats and get the finishing results. We got Derek Lachocki there taking home the win. Second place, Tyler Connolly. Jason Goodbout there, third. Brandon Meyer in the final transfer spot of fourth. Jimmy Herbert, Tyler Jordan, Brian Rogers Jr., and Bradley Bushy. That choice to start the rear did not pay off for that Bradley Bushy car. And interesting enough, we got the consolation grid right now, and Regan Parent. Now let's see here. Bottom 3 going home, I see. So it looks like we got Regan Parent right now leading us to the consolation green. Brian Huar, second place. Kerry Krenner, third. Jimmy Herbert, fourth. Aaron Maynard there in the top 5. Burt Duffy, 6th. Juan Marshall, 7th. Tyler Jordan, 8th. Justin Prescott, 9th. And Joel Hodgson there in 10th, Nolan.
Moving on down to 11th spot, you've got Corey Paya, 12th place on row number 6. Holds Brian Rogers Jr., Robbie Douglas, and Chris Fisher are on row number 7. Row 8 holds Arthur Jordan and Bradley Bushy, and then Taylor Huar going to be all the way back in that 17th starting spot. Top 14 being taken out of this one for what will end up being a 30-car main event.
Well, you mentioned it. I just want to reiterate exactly what you said there. The top 14 here will be advancing to the main, so that means 3 cars will be going home. And I think the name of this race will be Stay Clean. Don't get involved in a wreck, because there's bound to be one out here. We got 20 laps, which is double the length of those heats, and we saw plenty of caution flags and banged up cars. Don't get into a wreck, and you got plenty of opportunity to go straight into the feature race. But here we go. Regan Parent there waiting for the green flag to drop, and both of our competitors on the front row on the loud pedal. Brian Huar actually gets the good jump on the outside. That's the second time we've seen the outside really benefit on one of these initial starts, but the 37 gets really crossed up, and we got choke points coming off of 2.
3 wide all over the field as we're going to get ourselves sorted. Looking back to the 44, trying to go for a lunge down the inside line, and they're going to get us sorted. One car spinning up into the outside wall. It's the 29 going around. We got another into the infield, and a third going around off of turn number 4. No, caution will keep it all green. The big loser out of that one, Tyler Jordan, tanked the outside wall in a big side slap wreck. Gonna really beat up the 29 Knox entering Mustang as we'll keep it green, and we'll start to single file it out. You saw one more car spinning in the background, and this is the look with Tyler Jordan going down the inside. Caution is out.
Yeah, we had more issues. We're going to catch these replays here one at a time. This is the number 29 car. This is Tyler Jordan One of the first incidents that we had on the racetrack looks like the number 11, Kerry Krenner, might have slid up into him, and then you see Kerry spinning himself, and then I think it's Juan down here. Juan Marshall in the number 79 also spins down to the inside. Looks like he got a little bit of side-to-side contact, but keeps going in the right direction. And then actually coming off a turn 2 here, this is Robbie Douglas, gets hard into, maybe it's not Robbie Douglas, there's another car that gets hard into the outside wall here, Nolan, off of turn 2.
Yeah, this is the one right here with Rogers into the wall and up on his side onto his lid, and he'll slam it back down to the back straightaway. The field going to scramble to avoid him, and oh, hello, can you say unsafe rejoin as another car goes spinning around at the tail end of shot. But a chaotic opening start to the heat races here. The car in the back row was Tyler Jordan that got spun around again, but I can tell you right now, one driver that's not going to be terribly happy going to be the likes of Kerry Krenner, who had the 12, charging right back down. If Kerry didn't go into the grass, absolutely would have been wiped out by the 12 there. And Huar has been given an end of the longest line penalty.
Yeah, EOL for Huar there. And I'm going to have to argue the unsafe rejoin there because, I mean, technically, did he leave the racetrack? I guess he was in the air. That counts as leaving the racetrack, huh?
Fair enough.
Yeah, okay. Then your point is totally valid. Unsafe rejoin for sure if he left the racetrack. Well, it looks like that attrition already playing a role. Now, Nolan, I mentioned it. All you got to do is stay out of this mess. How many cars did we see here lose it on the cold tires, either by themselves, get collected up into a wreck, and all you needed to do was stay clean because three cars are the only cars that are going to be not allowed into the feature from this, and as long as you don't get caught up in it, you shouldn't be one of those 3.
Well, on top of that, you can actually technically say it's the bottom 2 because Joel Hodgen, he never took it to the green flag, so we've only got 16 out of our 17 scheduled starters out on the racetrack at the moment.
Even more reason to just say, hey guys, I'm hoping to keep it together out here. Put the little dune buggy flag on me. Say, hey, don't hit me. It's me out here. Don't hit me. I'm just trying to get to the feature right now. Well, we're going to restack them, re-rack them. We're going to get another green flag going here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And just want to give a quick shout out because I know we got limited time. GossCars.com, new and used car sales, as well as expert car maintenance and care using skilled technicians. GossCars.com and Pard Brothers Racing, race-winning parts provider at the Thunder Road Super Bowl there in Colchester, Vermont. All part of this iAmericanCanadian Tour here, and already green flag being dropped on the racetrack. Barney waiting really long to throw that one and caused a little bit of accordion effect in the back. I see the 44, Justin Prescott, getting caught out by that one, but looks like Regan Parent cleanly away with Jimmy Herbert there in second.
So far, smooth sailing for the top runners. You can see almost side by side for the race lead. Parent going to get back down the line. Jimmy Hibbert tried to make a run around the outside off of 2. Didn't end up happening. Brian Huar has picked up all the way to 3rd in our consolation race. So he's looking pretty set to get himself the consolation, at least a podium, and put himself up into the main running later on tonight. And Chris Fisher has 4th, and it is Aaron Maynard to round out the top 5. And almost side by side for the lead, but a bobble from Jimmy Herbert going to put us side by side. They're going to bang doors up in front, and they're also going to bang doors between Bushy and Maynard coming down the back straightaway as you ride on board with Bushy coming around through turn number 4.
You called it, Bushy and Maynard, and oh, Maynard gets out of shape again coming off of turn number 4, and I just want to get on the radio to these guys, say one more time, hey boys, I know it's the consolation and we're all going to make it here to the end, hopefully, fingers crossed. Just keep it together, learn a few things, but don't overstep the limit out there and send yourself all the way to the back of the field with an early end to your night. And look at this, showing the nose, the 58, Jimmy Hubbard out there trying to steal away the second place from Brian Huar in the 37 car. And Brian actually started on the front row and had that little bit of a wheel spin or loose issue coming off of turn 2, had to save it, got swallowed up, but looks like he's got plenty of speed right now inside that race car.
Regan Perrin taking the dominating line. Brian Hoare trying to get a move off at turn number 4, but you can see right here, see how Perrin goes down the inside line? That's not getting loose. That is intentional. He's doing that to try to break the draft. We actually see this very commonly in open wheel racing on the ovals, especially at a certain Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What this does is it breaks up the draft. It kind of kills some of the momentum you can get off these corners, but it makes sure the guys behind you aren't able to follow you as easily in the draft. That's how Perrin has been able to keep up with the race lead as much as he has, as the 37 car going to try to hightail it down off of turn number 4. Overall, though, he's still close to the 37 car, as that 17 or the 21, every time he does that, he compromises entry. There's the move for the lead.
Yeah, down underneath. Brian Ward takes a look, but not going to have the momentum, and huge yaw moment from Regan Perrin, our leader, coming off of turn 2. And here comes Hawar really deep on the brakes into turn 3, opens the door for Jimmy Hubbard underneath, and the 58 says, yes, thank you very much. Let me get side by side here.
The 58 trying to get himself with a better run as Hubbard going to go up the inside into turn numbers 1 and 2. Making the drive for second place. Oh, one car climbing the wall. It's Bushy in the background. Up on 2 wheels. He will save it, and we will keep it green. That's a Hasdo New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You clip that wall, it's almost impossible to get off of it.
What a shame there for Bradley Bushy as we're riding on board here with Chris Fisher. You see the side-by-side action between Jimmy and Brian right in front of him, and it's really a battle for the lead right now. And here comes Chris Fisher. He's going to take the opportunity and steal that 3rd place away from Brian. Just barely cleared himself coming up off of turn number 2, but right now the 58 is going to go hunt down our leader, and Regan has not really had a challenger all race, and seems like the 58 as well as the 71 now starting to come up and make their presence known in the rear view mirror of our leader. Maybe make him drive just a little bit different. See if Regan can hold on for another 7 laps here in this consolation race.
Whoa, scrambling way to the inside as Hoare got all sorts of crossed up off of turn number 2. That's going to lose him a big chunk of time up to 3rd spot on the track, but Fisher still doing a good job of keeping it in line with Jimmy Hibbert here. And again, you can see Regan Perrin weaving left and right on the front straightaway to try to break that draft, but he's way wide and up the hill for the 21. Open up the door for the 58 to try to make a run. The Mustang started the charge after the 21, and just like that, Perrin's lead is gone.
You got to think about the marbles that are way up there on the racetrack. Definitely not doing the tires any favors when you go up there and drive up in the dirty stuff. And you mentioned it, just like that. Jimmy here in the number 58 machine, right up on the back spoiler of Perrin now, and almost applying a little bit of air packed underneath. And no problems with Chris Fisher. Our 3rd place runner just got happy on the gas and spun himself around.
Into the inside wall. Can he get himself rolling before he loses 14th spot? I think he might just be able to. No, he can. He is going to lose 14th place to a driver that was 12 seconds back the road, losing it by himself off of turn number 2. Spun around and hit the inside wall. And I have to think he stalled the car because he was sitting there for a long while. Had to get it refired and get it rolling. There's the 15th place driver off of turn number 2, and that is how he just lost the final transfer spot.
Well, and I'm checking out Chris Fisher's car as well, and it looks like he's got some damage. So really unfortunate day, or end to the day, I should say, for that number 71. And looking out front, we actually had a change of position while we were looking at those replays. Jimmy Hubbard there in the 58 has gone around Regan Perrin, and that's a new leader. 58 to the point, and now it's Regan. See if he can crawl back, stay in the 2nd position, and this is the replay of how it happened, Nolan.
Off of turn number 4, got the better drive, and he cleared him when they came off of turn numbers 1 and 2. Down the front straightaway right there, deeper on the brakes, and carried the momentum high and wide around the outside line, and there was just nothing the 17 had for him on the exit.
Really a textbook outside pass there, but good sportsmanship shown from both competitors. And oh no, more problems on the racetrack. The 37, our 3rd place runner, Brian Hawar just went around as well, and looks like he's got it pointed the right direction. Not going to fall all the way down like we saw Chris Fisher, but just like that, it's kind of the curse of the third place position.
It's going to end up falling back to, I think that's going to be about 13, so he's going to be safe for now with still a couple seconds back to Chris Fisher in 14, so no stress there as Fisher has taken over the final transfer spot as well. Jimmy Hebert, though, coming around through 3 and 4 on the final lap.
Yeah, coming out of turn 4, 58 machine. Gonna take home the checkered flag here at the consolation race. Pretty impressive, and around Regan Parent, who really led all race. And is this what I think I'm seeing right now? The 71 Chris Fisher, did he cross in 14th? Is he taken to the feature right now?
He certainly did. He got around Arthur Jordan for the 14th spot.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's get these finishing results up on the screen here. Jimmy Hebert taking home the consolation win. Regan Parent, second place. Aaron Maynard, third. Justin Prescott, fourth. Tyler Jordan in the top 5. Bradley Bushy, Corey Paya, Kerry Krenner there in 8th. Brian Rogers Jr. and Burt Duffy in the 10th place position, Nolan.
11th spot going to hold Juan Marshall with Robbie Douglas back in 12th. Brian Hoare going to pick up 13th as he spun out of the 3rd position, coming to 2 laps to go. Chris Fisher recovers to 14th after he spun from 3rd. Taylor Hoare going to be the last driver on the lead lap of 15th. Arthur Jordan finishes 1 lap down with Joel Hodgson finishing this race in 17th after he did not take it to the green flag for the consolation.
Well, just like that, we're going to take a quick break during this warm-up phase and be right back with more iAmerican Tour action here on Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
There is a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is partnered with more real-world tracks and companies, including Junior Motorsports, than any other group on the iRacing service.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the iAmerican Tour here on Maconi Entertainment. It is race number 2 of this 5-race series here. We're at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the super late model cars tonight, and none of this would be possible without our partners here in this series. GossCars.com, a car dealership in South Burlington, Vermont. New and used car sales, as well as expert car maintenance and care using skilled technicians. Goss, Dodge, Chrysler, Ram, and Jeep. Hard Brothers Racing, a race car winning parts provider at Thunder Road Super Bowl. They're the parts dealer there in Colchester, Vermont. And thank you to Thunder Road Super Bowl, nation's site of excitement there. And they're actually hosting an SRX race July 20th here in the summer. incredible racing guaranteed out there at the Thunder Road Super Bowl, and also Maconi Setup Shop. If you're interested in subscriptions on getting faster out there on the service, head on over to www.maconisetupshop.com. Find your favorite car, download that subscription, and instantly start to drop that lap time. And also, if you're interested in getting your own league, race, or special event broadcasted here, check out that same website, Maconi Entertainment, and Jeff can get you taken care of. And we're going to get our starting grid rolling out here. Casey Beattie in the number 45, going to be leading us to the green flag. PJ Evans there, second place. Zachary Audit, third. Derek Glachaki, fourth place. Reese Bogue inside the top 5. Aaron Clemens, sixth. Caden Fisher, seventh. Tyler Connolly, Jeff Coate, and Trent Goodrow round out the top 10.
Jason Ricker and Jason Goodbow down on the 6th row of the racetrack. Joey Israelson and Ty Delphi on row number 7. Ethan Terrell and Brandon Mayer on row number 8. Row 9 holds Jimmy Hibbert and Regan Parent, and it is Aaron Mayer and Justin Prescott to round out the top 20.
There in 21st position, we got Tyler Jordan, Bradley Bushy in 22nd, Corey Paya, Kerry Krenner, Brian Rogers Jr. in 25th position, Bert Duffy, Juan Marshall, Robbie Douglas, and two more back here, Brian Huar and Chris Fisher, snuck his way into this feature race way back there in the 38th position. And look at all these cars lined up for the start of this race. Now, we were talking off air if we're going to see an early yellow or not, and my bet is I think these cars are going to keep it clean for at least 10 laps, but we're about to see as the pace car is officially off of the racetrack. Casey Beattie, the number 45, is slowly coming up to the restart zone. Looks like we already got a green flag on the racetrack and pretty even jump. Actually, PJ Evans is going to lead him down into turn 1 from the outside. Reese Bogue with a huge move down the inside into 1.
Almost touched for the race lead as he come off of turn number 2. PJ Evans picks up the race lead from second as Casey Beattie tries to hound him down as we run down into turn numbers 3 and 4 for the first time tonight. So far, all 30 cars still clean and in contention. The track temperature has cooled off a bit more from the original 108 down to 96. Track is now in the optimal conditions. It's all going down to the drivers, down to the tires as they were 4 wide down the front straightaway, a bit deeper in the background.
Yeah, I think it was Israelson as well as the 17 of Goodbout getting crossed up off of turn number 4 and made a little bit of an accordion effect. And look at this, Nolan, just the field is really trying to settle themselves into a one-lane racetrack, but when you got over 30 cars out there, it can get busy real fast. It's kind of looking like, I don't know, I-5, I-95, I-75, depending on what part of the country you're at.
Or in case of a different country like me, it's the number 1 on rush hour coming out of Vancouver. So for Zachary Audit, he'll try to get up and around Joey Israelson. You can see as they try to pound it down to the turn number 3 and 4 right in front of them. Jeff Coate, Caden Fisher, side by side for 6th place, and it's going to get a bit tight here. Contact. Anderson up the racetrack, keeps it, no, doesn't, just gets into the outside wall, but it's only a glance, and that glancing blow is all that he's over. No, there he goes, gets finished off by the 11, saves it again, hit by the 9, and somehow Israelson still keeps it going straight.
And more action, now he's officially rounded. Now we're gonna get a yellow flag coming off of turn 2. Nolan, multiple cars involved in this one. We're gonna have to get a few sections of replay going on because I felt like this was a wreck that was happening for 3 laps straight, but it never happened until finally off of turn number 2 here, get 3 wide with Israelson and finally turned around, and really the majority of the contact, yeah, happens further down. I see the 11, the 44 involved, and as well as a couple more.
The 11 of Kerry Crennan took a heck of a ride when tumbling down the back straightaway. But yeah, the poor 34 of Israelson, there was not a whole lot he could do. He was just getting beaten around from all angles here. You're right worth credit out. The driver got kicked up and over just right there, got clipped and went up onto their roof and rolled it down the back straightaway and stopped right where the turn it is. We're at turn number 2 over for the New Hampshire Motor Speedway road course. And yeah, for Israel to start this all off, so take another look at this one. It kind of all stemmed from the contact with on and off of turn number 4 as you see the 11 going up and over, and someone did a dig into the grass there. He got then hit by, I think about like 2 or 3 other drivers. He got hit by the 11, then again by the 9, saved that one. So we're talking 3 different saves now, then up into the 13, and that's what ended up finally finishing him off. He just could not catch a break.
No, I think that's the best way to put it, is he couldn't catch a break, and you're right, it happened really off of turn 4 of the previous lap where he got kind of nudged into and had a huge save. And I was mentioning it seemed like that wreck happened for multiple laps, and then it finally actually happened on the back straightaway. But one thing to note here is that there is one fast repair available to these competitors out here, and that means if you were involved in that wreck, got heavy damage, which I know several cars did, they can come down and get that magic pit crew to plop a new body, new race car out there and get back going on the racetrack. But if you use that up now, you don't have a spare anymore. Well, looks like we're going to get going back to the green flag racing here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Only 7 laps in the book so far. I thought we were going to get 10 laps of green flag racing, but turns out we aren't. And Magic 8 Ball, Nolan, what are we going to see here? Another quick run with how twitchy these cars are? Or are they going to settle out and zipper into single file?
My Magic 8 Ball here is telling me ask again later. So I'm not sure if that bodes well or not at all.
Well, sometimes you got to shake it again, you know? Well, looks like PJ Evans this time is going to be on the inside. And something to note, we've seen the outside lane kind of take advantage on a couple of these initial starts. And these 2 front competitors have initially swapped places now. And it's Casey Beattie on the outside, PJ Evans on the inside. See if there's any games played on this restart. As looks like a little bit going there. PJ Evans going through the gears, but pretty clean restart from our entire field right now as they go down into turn 1, 2 by 2 by 2 for the front 3 rows.
Wrecking in the background, the 29 up into the outside wall, but we're going to keep it sorted, or keep it green at the very least. So Tyler Jordan spins it out of the outside wall, but no caution. We'll keep it steady as we'll run down off of turn numbers 3 and 4, and almost had our second yellow flag on the opening lap here of this second run. PJ Evans continues to lead at start-finish.
Familiar place for PJ Evans in that number 35 car, and he's got some good company behind him, Casey Beattie as well as Derek Lashaki. And Derek, I mentioned second place in our first round back there. PJ Evans, of course, won the first round of the iAmericanCanadianTour here on iRacing, and so it looks pretty familiar up front right now. These names are getting to be well known in this series, and who else can get up there and run with them? And one of them that I'm noticing is actually Reese Bogue there in the number 4 car, trying to hang on to the back of, call it this top 5. He's made some really aggressive moves on these restarts, showing the nose down the inside. And now that we're green flag running, we're going to see what kind of pace Reese settles into and see if he can keep that car at the front. It looks like we got problems with the 51.
Up and almost into the outside wall for Aaron Clemens after he banged doors with Jeff Coates, number 51. It was the 67 that slid up and wide, almost into the outside wall. Clemens got himself sorted, didn't lose, or he lost the top 5, but didn't lose past 6th spot, so he'll be able to regather himself and try to charge back after the top 5, while they're side by side for 7th right behind him between Auden and Fisher run deep down into turn numbers 3 and 4. It's such a tight groove that these guys are running at the moment, trying to keep it as pinned to the bottom as they possibly can. Oh, heads up! One driver wrecking it into the pit barrels on the front straightaway. That was Jimmy Herbert, who we just riding on board with, and he's going to bend it down to the pit road. And would not be surprised if we got a black flag there for an unsafe pit entry, but it looks like he might have gotten away with that.
You know, and we're familiar with the commentator's curse up here, and that might have been the producer's curse. I'm going to have to call out the bearded sim racer Ryan Bauer on that one. He put the camera car right on the screen, and all of a sudden he wrecked. But racing goes on, green flag on the racetrack right now. You see Barney, a.k.a. Brandon Davis, watching over the playground and says, you know what, that was just a single car out there. No need to bring out the yellow flag so early. And PJ Evans actually starting to deal with a little bit of lap traffic going by the number 58 of Jimmy Hebert, who we just saw spun into the pit lane with that issue. And things now a little bit more single file at the front. And just as I say that, looks like Derek Lachocki scraped the wall.
You see that 03 car trying to make the run for the outside line. I believe they just hit again as Lachocki got into the 51 of Jeff Code. Code having a rough ride at the moment, trying to keep it clean here as he's banging up against just about every driver that tries to go side by side with him. But hey, these Super Late models, they're made for contact racing. And we're seeing that in full force in the Hampshire Motor Speedway. Reese Boog right behind, about to lose out the fifth spot to Aaron Plemons. Well, here's the run for this last spot inside the top 10. Trent Goodrow and Jason Goodbound. Oh, a bump and a run to the back of Connolly. Connolly going to scramble up the racetrack. The 31 going to go through, and the 17 going to try to make it 3 wide off of 2.
Well, this is a great pack of racing right now that you found. And yeah, this is the 00 Tyler Connolly as well as the 31 Trent Goodrow making that big move down the inside right here. And looks like the number 9 just spun around. That was Jason Ricker, I believe, and we got a yellow flag on the racetrack.
Caution is out, as you correctly called. Ricker going around in turn numbers 3 and 4. He did save it, but the caution was thrown due to where he was at and the imminent danger to cars right behind. Look at as he gets into the 71, and how's that for a save? Gets down to the apron. Didn't even lose a whole lot of spots. I believe he actually maintained the 16th place there, so that's not bad. Ricker's going to have some smoked tires, but that's going to be about it.
You know, I really love seeing these real-world drivers come out here and play on the surface out here, because you get all sorts of games with the pedals. They understand the trajectories of the cars and what to do with the pedals. And there you saw him just essentially, once he started spinning, lock it down, stop that yaw angle, and once everything was neutralized, he released the pedals, kept going the right direction, and pretty impressive car control stuff out there. And all of these competitors with that real-world experience bring that knowledge to the simulator here. And just a note, those tires might have smoked the tires, but looks like they do have one set available to them. Now, I don't know if coming down pit road is a great strategy call per se with how much track position you're going to lose and how many cars are still on the lead lap, but just in case you need to use them, they are at your disposal. And does that Majek 8-ball have a new answer? Are we going to get a green flag run longer than 10 laps?
Let me consult it here real quick. I pulled one up online. Maybe that'll be do better than the first. Better not tell you now. Okay, that's again not going well. Let me try one more time here on this one. Don't count on it. Okay, the answer is no. And I think that's pretty safe to say. Well, that's what it's going for.
Well, I love that we've got a virtual Magic 8-ball here in the commentary booth. We're actually going to go one more lap under yellow flag here. Make sure we've got all the wave arounds and everything sorted out. And looks like we even got some people in the race chat. Give me more than 10 laps in a row here. So trust me, it is a lot more difficult than what you think. And I'm going to try to explain this the best because I've got a lot of seat time. I come from the real world as well. And when you come from a real race car and go into the virtual world, you lose all of the feel that you're used to, and it can be a tough time to get around the racetrack and keep the car exactly where you want to. And then you put 30 other competitors out there, and it really becomes a lot more fun, but anxiety. There's stuff that happens all over the place. In the real race car, you're usually calm and collected, know what's going on, but here in the virtual world, it gets pretty wild on the racetrack, and we're about to have mayhem unleashed one more time. That green flag is the mayhem flag, and already the 00 hard into the back of the 9 on the restart, but PJ Evans gets away cleanly. Once again, Reese Bogue in that number 4 trying that inside line, almost gets into Derek Lachocki there as he scooted up the racetrack.
And all the hallmarks of somebody trying to jump the start as hard in the outside wall for on it and going around the back straightaway, and several cars collecting the 33 up almost up on the side. Brandon Mayer getting into this one along with Brandon Butchie. Somehow no caution will keep it green. That started with the 27, got to the 52, and then got nailed by not only the 33 but also believe it might have been Brian Rogers, and now the caution flag is going to fly. Not sure if it was for that or something different. It looks like it might actually have been, though, for a different incident, and it was for Chris Fisher, who was loose on the inside and scrambling up the track.
Yeah, and I agree. So, Bradley Bushy had the problem coming off at turn 2, and then Chris Fisher. So here we're going to see the initial start here. That accordion off of the initial start was a hard impact between the 00 and I believe the 09 car on the outside. And here coming off of turn 2, watch the black and blue 52. Hard into the wall. He gets collected by, I believe that was the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. And then here comes Chris Fisher all the way down here taking the road course.
And Chris Fisher finding himself going all the way down the racetrack there, and he will find himself tumbled way down the timing order as a result. Now, interesting to note, Robbie Douglas has been given an end of the longest line penalty for causing causing a caution. And I'm not quite sure. Robbie Douglas seems to be just about as confused as I am on that one. But, Robbie Douglas, 27, he was the one that ended up starting off this whole mess in the champ reaction.
Yeah, here we are riding on board with him in the 27, and gonna see him get up into the 52, and I'm not sure from that angle if the 52 had another car on the outside of him, or if the 52 was just yawed out. This will be a good camera angle here, and we can sit and armchair quarterback this all we want, but there's huge funnel effects. And see, the 52 had room up on top of the racetrack as well, so I find it tough to place the full amount of blame here on the 27.
I can kind of see where you're coming from with that one. Yeah, there was about another half lane up to the top. At the same time, that 27 car's got about 2 or 3 lanes to work with down on the low side. And at the end of the day, 27 is coming up a lot faster than the 51 was coming down. It's up to the passing car to try to keep it clean. And the 52, at the end of the day, while he might not have given it the most amount of room was still very much given.
Yep, it certainly was. And I think that's all part of playing on the playground out here. And you got to respect all your friends out there and race how you want to be raced, and if you don't leave a lot of room, other competitors are not going to leave you very much room when you most need it. And it's always nice to make the friends out there, and actually looks like we're going to be coming up on halfway through this race here in just a couple laps, although I think the pace car might be our lap leader. And yeah, I think he is. I'm pretty sure he is our lap leader, by the way. But it's Casey Beattie that's going to be in charge of this restart, it looks like. Or no, PJ Evans still lined up down low. Sorry about that. My timing and scoring is very active with which lane is out front right now. But it's PJ Evans in that 35, which is the control car. And been pretty consistent on these restarts. See if we have any more stack-ups throughout the rest of the field. And pace car once again comes off of the racetrack down off of turn 4 onto the pit road, and pretty clean restart from our entire field as they get going. Looks like Reese Bogue maybe with some wheel spin issues as he's trying to collect the car still going into turn 1.
4 wide and up to the outside wall, pancaking it is Zachary Auden, the 09, who got spun around in the Rowdy Energy Camry, and that was after contact with the 4 of Reese Bogue. And again, a single car spin, no yellow flag, we'll keep it steady. Here's the fight for the lead. Beattie looking for the inside. Evans up on top, trying to keep it steady as we start lap 25.
EJ Evans, and we got a yellow flag on the racetrack.
Rogers.
Maybe. Rogers again. Is this the number 12 car?
And more. Ethan Tyrrell also around along with Bushy.
Get a quick replay of exactly what happened. Oh, wow, you're right. Yeah, Rogers around, Herbert around, 23 around. There's multiple cars coming off of turn 4, and you see the reason for this yellow flag, and we're going to get a clip of exactly where it started here, Nolan.
The 44, oh wow, the 44 just ran Rogers over, and there was nothing the 46 car of Maynard could do. That spun Rogers back up, who again got hooked on the 44. He body slammed the outside wall. Meanwhile, it was our Himmer along with Tyrrell, they both spun as Tyrrell went down and got to the 58, but they were just trying to avoid this whole mess. You could hardly blame them for that one, and they were both forced to come down pit road. Prescott given the end of the longest line penalty.
Well, and those EOL penalties are coming from Brandon Davis, our race control director here, and he's sitting up top in the suite. He's got an eye on everything that's happening on the racetrack, and basically these penalties are coming out that if you cause this incident, if you are deemed at fault that you caused it, you are going to get a penalty. Now, if you get involved in it and caught up in it, no worries, you know, no penalty involved. But if the eye in the sky, that racing god, Mr. Brandon Davis, says, you're at fault, you're going to go to the end of the line, you better learn your lesson out there. And trust me, when you've got, I'm looking 27 cars on the lead lap, that is a huge penalty, and good luck trying to make your way through this field again, because you see how thick it is.
It's a very thick field out there, but the good news is the trends seem to be we're going to whittle this field down little by little, as believe I actually see Bradley Bushy being given a free pass around the iRacing safety car, so he'll be able to pick up the lead lap once more. So good news there for Bradley Bushy. Got wrecked early on, and now he'll be able to fight it out with the rest of the lead lap cars for the second half of our race tonight. Do we want to go for another Magic 8 Ball prediction and hope that this time it'll be a correct one?
Now, I don't want to force the Magic 8 Ball, but you know what? Let's bring him up. Let's just say, hey, Mr. Magic 8 Ball, are we going to see the green-white checkered later in this race?
The green-white checkered. Okay, all right. Give me a second here. It's taking its time, without a doubt. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. It's confident about that prediction.
It means we're going to stay the same pace out here throughout the final 23 laps of the night. And I actually wanted to ask you, Nolan, because we're going to go back to green flag. With such a rapid pace and only a few laps of green flag racing, do you change your approach as a racing driver, or do you stay with the same strategy you started this race with?
I think it depends on where you're at in the race, right? If we were still with 40 laps to go, I would say just try to take it a bit easier and see if you can get that long green flag run. But every restart that brings us closer, the aggression's going to ramp up more and more, because these guys are going to realize it's less and less time that we've got to make these moves happen.
You're right. Time will be winding down here soon enough. We're past halfway, and green flag action back out on the racetrack here, working 22 laps to go here at the iAmericanCanadian race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We got 3 wide with Reese Bogue down underneath and the number 18 Caden Fisher up top.
A good run so far throughout this field, looking for the inside. Oh, we got cars spinning in the background. That's Robbie Douglas into the outside wall, giving EOL earlier on, and he's just taken out the 11, it looks like. So more trouble for Douglas on the back straightaway. We'll keep it green, though. And we'll run it back down into turn numbers 1 and 2. You ride on board here with, I believe that's 31 car of Trent Goodrow from the bottom. Look out, as car is scrambling a bit further down the field. And excuse me, no, this is on board PJ Evans, our race leader.
Yeah, looking back, we got 3 wide going into turn 3. Israelson snuck by Reese Bogue in the number 4 car, but really the top 5 pretty calm. I would call it maybe the top 7 pretty calm, but further on back from there, it starts to get very frantic out there. And you know, there's not a dollar figure up for grabs here at this specific race, but they are going for the points, and there is something like $400, I believe, in total prize pool that these drivers are fighting for. So, yeah, I understand why they're trying to be so anxious to get to the front.
It has been a hectic race so far here today, and I can tell you right now, it's only going to continue to ramp up the further we get into this race here tonight. 19 laps left to go, about 18 and a half as we take it to the back straightaway. We're single file all the way back to right around the 9th or 8th position. That's where we got our first real side-by-side fight, but even that just single filed on out. So we'll keep it with the top 5 here as they'll continue to run it down off of turn numbers 3 and 4. On board with the driver right behind the 17. This is on board with Reese Bogue trying to fight it out with Jason Goodbout for that 9th position as Bogue, whoa, way to the inside. That's a line and a half down into a very flat apron. You can't do that, no rule against it, but you're going to kill your momentum coming off of turn number 2.
It's that line I've been telling you about. He takes that line on those restarts, and on the initial starts and initial restarts, he was actually able to pick up quite a few positions, taking that really shallow line there in turn 1. And looks like a little bit further up now, we've got some challenges for what is the 2nd place position. And this is Jeff Coate taking a look down the inside of Casey Beattie. 45 gets really loose off of turn 2, saves it before he gets in the wall.
Driving it back down to turn 3. It's the 0-3 of Gluchaki trying to make the run on Casey Beattie for 3rd. As Beattie has fallen back down to 3rd place. Jeff Coate picking up that 2nd position. Coming to 15 to go this time by. Closing up on the back bumper. Was that a bumper there? Fair Clemens in the back end of the 0-3. Might have just been the smallest of nudges. Gluchaki is going to save it, but not for long. He'll probably lose out in the 3rd spot here as Clemens going to try to go for the over-under.
Yeah, Clemens all over the back of Derek Gluchaki right here, and see a little bit of smoke coming off of turn 4. No hazards on the racetrack, just a little bit of some netcode issues out there. And right now, Clemens definitely has some speed in the race car, but I'm loving the green flag action that we're seeing. And seems like the more heat that gets into these tires, the more and more calm these race cars are getting out there. It seemed like the drivers just needed to maybe take a deep breath out there, get into the rhythm, and well, just as I say that, the magic 8 ball is going to come up and strike and say, hey, we're going to get a yellow flag because we can't forget about that green-white checkered later.
Zachary Audit, the cause of this yellow flag, and how about that smoking on the 09 car, and he took a lot of very hefty waxing. This is going to be an extensive replay to take a look at here. He was with the 11 car. This is a self-inflicted error, though, up into the outside wall. Gets hit by the 58. He spins it on the back straightaway, but it's not over because, hang on, tries to spin down the racetrack, gets nailed by the 12, and then comes back and only to get drilled again by a driver. Now, that's one of the big hazards, right, about trying to make a move when you're not clear to do so. It makes you unpredictable, and one of these guys behind you supposed to do, they expect you to stay on the outside until they get through. I believe the second driver to hit it was Ethan Tyrrell.
I feel for Brian Rogers Jr. because this feels like deja vu. I think this is like the 3rd time that it's happened to the 12 car that a car is just pulled out in front of him on the racetrack, and actually looks like we're gonna get disqualification for Zachary Audit right there. And you know, I don't blame him because, you know, pulling down in front once, but you did it twice there, and you're pointed at the field, so kind of no excuse. You definitely saw him coming.
Literally a carbon copy mistake done just seconds after the first one. You saw when we went on board there with I believe that was on board with Tyrrell that we had gone on board with. The smoke up front, Brian Rogers backed that thing into the tire barriers on the inside of the racetrack. There's not a lot of tire barriers down there, but he nested himself right in with the tire bundles that, again, mark part of the barriers for the road course side of things. There is a road course at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. In fact, there's 3 different configurations of it with that incorporate the north and south ends of the oval. But a little fun fact for those that might not be so aware, instead of being on an infield road course like most other road courses are, like you see at Daytona, Indianapolis, even Rockingham, this one's on the exterior of the racetrack, right up on the hill on the back straightaway.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting transition there, and I haven't driven the New Hampshire Motor Speedway road course, but here you get an aerial shot. You see all the different configurations, and even through the infield where the trailers are parked, you kind of see the turns and swizzles where the trailers come up from underneath, and then also through turns 1, 2, 3 back out onto the oval. Pretty cool configuration, and honestly, I do like it when they take these oval tracks and add more configurations to them. I'm a big fan of the Roval configuration road course racing. It isn't a type of racetrack that you get elsewhere in the world, so it's kind of one of these American-only things, and really neat to see here in North America. And looks like PJ Evans still on the front row, but Jeff Coate lined up alongside of him now. That's the new challenger on the front row. See if he gets that 51 car going. Derek Lachocki kind of wiggly, trying to get his machine through the gears, but PJ Evans dives down into turn 1, hanging on to the lead, but the 51 showing some speed on the outside.
So far, smooth sailing for this field as we hit it to the back straightaway, and it'll be a good drive down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. You can still see Evans hanging on for the lead, but now Jeff Coe can be looking to apply that pressure as we come off of turn number 4. 10 laps left to go as the field scrambles and fans out down the front straightaway.
Reese Bogue way down low on the apron, once again trying to get by Israelson there, but the race is on up front right now because you mentioned it, 10 laps to go. Yeah, Israelson, huge problems. I think that's collected Herbert as well.
And Herbert hard into the tire barriers. We just talked about those on the inside of the racetrack. That's going to destroy the 58 cars. He went from 80 miles an hour into a bad angle wall, came to a dead stop, and nearly got stuck in the fence as well. 34 up on his side, and the 58 goes shooting down the racetrack, and right there, look at that for a hit.
You know, I mentioned that Brian Rogers Jr. has kind of been a magnet for Rex. Well, the 58, unfortunately, has been a magnet for Rex himself as well. And you're going to get a first-hand look at this impact and just going to send him straight to the left side and, oof, straight into those tires.
And that's where the tires are a bit more unprotected as well, right? The barriers are not as prevalent down on that section of the racetrack because you don't expect a road car to go spinning into those. And because of that little divot in the grass there, you saw the back end lift up, and he very nearly found himself being stuck in those barriers. In fact, he had to kind of scramble onto the reverse pedal and jam the throttle to get himself unstuck. It's very easy to find yourself tucked underneath those barriers with the rear wheels lifting off the ground and just unable to move from underneath those barriers. I've seen that before in my time as a course marshal. The car might not even be all that damaged, but if you get wedged in there at just the right angle, you're done for.
Oh, absolutely. And it's kind of funny because tire barriers are there to protect the car, but sometimes they can actually do more damage than a regular wall. But it all depends on where they're placed in the impact zones, where cars hit them, and all of those things. And they're all taken into consideration when those track designers put those safety issues out there on the racetrack. But Magic 8 Ball is starting to serve up some truth out here because 8 laps to go. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, get another restart, and cautions tend to breed cautions. And if I see something on the horizon, it's a green-white checker that Magic 8 Ball definitely predicted, Nolan.
I asked it again just for the fun of it. It is decidedly so is the answer that comes back. So it's very, very confident that we are not running the rest of this race out green.
Well, I'm sorry to say that to the competitors out there, but maybe to the fans watching, maybe, you know, grab a soda because we're about to get some action on this racetrack. The pace car lights are out. That means our top 5, PJ Evans, Jeff Cote, Casey Beattie, Derek Lachocki, and Aaron Clemens in the number 67 down low there. That is your top 5, and I really think that anybody inside the top 10 has a chance at this win with how things have gone so far tonight. And it's all about keeping the car pointed straight. Don't get too happy with that right foot on the throttle pedal. Keep all of those 550 horses that you were talking about in control. Make sure all of that rubber meets the road down there. And here's Barney the flagman. Already on the gas is PJ Evans with a great jump here on this restart. Going to be working 6 laps to go here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Casey Beattie slides up into Derek Lachocki. What a save from the 0-3. He keeps it pointed the right direction, and Reese Bogue takes advantage.
That's going to stack up the back portion of this field. The top 2 breaking away while we fight it out for 3rd down the road into turn numbers 3 and 4. 5 laps to go for the Magic Mile, and they're scrambling up into the outside wall. One car climbing the wall in the background, and who's that? That just saved it off of 4. I believe that was Tyler Connolly. Will keep it green after he got up into the outside wall, and still We got our field still, I would say, a good 20 cars strong, and more trouble in the background. Caution is out again. There is, I believe, what will become the green-white checker.
We see the oh no, that 12 car involved again.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, Brian Rogers Jr. I don't know what it's gonna take.
Again, nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. They're already wrecking in front of this number 12 car. And look, here's the 58 involved as well, our other magnet. I feel for these guys out here tonight.
He got clipped again by somebody that was reversing from the wall, trying to rejoin the racetrack. Watch this here. We go 3 wide off of turn number 2 into the outside wall. Watch that 11 car. The 12 gets going. The 11's going to back it up, and it's just going to take him out again.
You're right.
The poor guy.
Oh, man. Well, Brian, don't go buy a lottery ticket tonight, because tonight is not your lucky night out there. Here we're going to go. See, going to get going, and then, sorry, do not go. Please stop. Do not collect $200.
This is like when your friend decides to do you dirty and somehow shuffles the go to jail card up to the top of the chance pile every single time.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing out here. I do feel for the wreck that happened, but sometimes just when it rains, it pours out on the racetrack, and the number 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. is definitely feeling that rain out there. Well, you're right. We are going to get the green-white checkered, and now for all of you who are unfamiliar with this is basically going to be a little bit of an overtime to end this race. What we're going to do is we're going to re-rack them, restack them. We're going to get 1 green flag lap to go racing, 1 white flag lap to end the race, and then the checkered flag comes out there at the end of that second lap. And with only 1 attempt out here, we only get 1 shot at it, so gonna have to play clean, play nice if you want to take home the checkered flag here tonight, because no matter what, there's no bonus time after this one.
I don't think they know the definition of play nice out here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I'm going to be completely honest based on what we've seen so far tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking, I'm seeing buy a lottery ticket. I don't know if I would buy a lottery ticket if I was Brian Rogers out there. It's just, see, luck doesn't seem to be going for him. But hey, if we're looking at this, half a lap to green, Nolan. You gonna pick a winner for me? Who you got as a favorite right now?
Whoever's left at this point.
Well, my money is on the 35 PJ Evans. I know it's kind of a cheaty pick, but he has been in control of these restarts. He has not had a challenger come up. The best he's got is Jeff Coate, who's lined up alongside of him in that 51 car.
An extension.
Looks like we're gonna get 1 more lap before we get going green. Actually get a few competitors dodge out of the way there. They're going to get choked up a little bit. And well, if I'm going to pick PJ Evans, you can't pick Judgment Day and whoever's left. Let's put a name to this one. Nolan, who is your pick to claim the checkered flag tonight?
Well, you went with Evans. The pace car, I'm assuming, is not an option here. I'll go with Coate. Why not? He's had a good run so far. He started 9th place. He's driven up to 2nd. That's a good run so far, and I think Coate could have what it takes to get it done on the final lap there.
Well, and I agree with you, because he was the one who challenged the outside on the last restart, and maybe if he gets another good launch here, he can give PJ Evans a run for his money here to claim this 2nd win of the season, potentially, for that number 35 car. And this time, we are going to get that safety car down off of pit road. Field is in the hands of the number 35 car. He waits all the way to the very end of the restart zone to get on the gas, throws the 51 off of his rhythm just a little bit. That's going to open the door for Aaron Clemens down on the inside of Jeff Coate, but PJ Evans clearly in control off of 2.
Oh, Jeff Coe bottling it up at the second corner. The 67 of Aaron Clemens won't be able to let him go, and that could be what Evans was hoping for, as we'll come home to take the white flag on the Magic Mile. As soon as the Bible turn forward, they're crashing in the background, but we are going to be able to come back and take that white flag.
Yeah, PJ Evans still in control, and then you see Clemens down the inside of the racetrack. We got multiple cars spinning off that we'll catch up with later, but right now Clemens, big loose moment, but it is all PJ Evans out front. He's just got to make it through turns 3 and 4 one more time here. He looks up at that flag stand. Barney has the checkered flag in sight. 2 in a row for PJ Evans.
Coe will be able to hang on to second spot, but not for lack of trying from Aaron Clemens, who secures third. But what a race we've had so far here tonight. We had the thrills, we had the spills, we had everything in between. What a drive that these guys have put on for us here tonight.
Yeah, what a drive. PJ Evans, congratulations on back-to-back wins here in the iAmerican Tour Series, once at that short track at Hickory, and now here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And looks like we're gonna get some fresh, tasty donuts here. Burn it down for PJ Evans on the front straightaway. I love the smell of donuts. I don't know about you, Nolan, but even when they're the rubber type, they smell delicious when paired with champagne out there. And we're actually going to take a quick look at the final results right now as PJ Evans parks his car on the start-finish line. PJ Evans, your race winner. Jeff Cote coming home in the second place position. And third place, we got Aaron Clemens, Casey Beattie fourth, Trent Goodrow fifth, Reese Bogue sixth, Derek Vlashaki there seventh, Justin Prescott eighth, Regan Parent ninth, and Jason Goodbout in the top 10.
Jason Ricker brings him 11th spot, and how about Robbie Douglas? After so much struggles today, started 28th spot. He fought his way up 16 spots, most out of anybody so far this afternoon. He'll finish in 12th, with Ethan Turrell back in 13th spot. Brandon Bushy advances 8th to finish in 14th from 22nd. Ty Delfield brings up 15th around in the top half of the field, with Brandon Bayer in 16th. Corey Paya in 17th. Brian Rogers Jr., after so much strife, still comes out and Nick gain up positions. He'll finish in 18th spot, with Chris Fisher and Kerry Krenner to round out the top 20.
Yeah, and in 21st, we got Caden Fisher there, Burt Duffy in 22nd, Brian Huard there, 23rd place. Let's see here, 24th, Jimmy Hubbard there, unfortunately a magnet. Tyler Jordan, 25th, Aaron Maynard, Tyler Connolly, 27th, Joey Israelson, Zachary Audit, and then Juan Marshall, a few laps down there in the 30th position. And looks like we already have all of our 3 podium finishers here, and we're going to bring up our back-to-back winner, PJ Evans. Congratulations on another checkered flag here, this time at New Hampshire.
Yeah, thanks. It was pretty tough, just holding off the guys behind me. Didn't really battle anyone the whole race, just basically on the restarts, just holding my ground, holding the bottom, not giving it up. I mean, I let it up one time to Casey, and I thought we were going to battle it out, but then cautions just kept coming. But overall, it was a good race.
Well, a really good race indeed, and now this one had a little bit more yellow involved in it than our first race. Now, as a driver, does that affect your strategy at all, being broken up so much into these short green flag runs instead of a little bit longer run like you probably practiced?
It doesn't really affect me that much. I mean, it just like I'm used to doing long runs, so honestly, it doesn't matter short run, long run. I mean, I prefer long run though, just to get the feel of the car, but unfortunately we couldn't get that chance.
Well, and talk to me a little bit about this car and track combo, because we saw quite a few competitors with a pretty loose car, and it seemed like if you squeezed that throttle a little bit too quickly, the car would definitely light up the tires and go loose on you. Is that something that you had to struggle with throughout this entire race, or is that something that you, as a driver, more just had to manage because of the car?
Yeah, I had to manage that because of the car. I mean, the throttle control is like insane. You have to be very easy. I stay like mid throttle through the corners, just keeping it under control, keeping it straight. Try not to get sideways. If you get sideways, you're just gonna have to fight it the whole corner. But I've been used to it. So I mean, it takes some time to get used to that. But once you get used to it, it's pretty easy from there on out.
Well, and last couple questions I wanted to ask you. I know that I asked you about your real world race experience before, but tell me again about it. And lastly, anybody that you want to say hi to or thank with sponsors that help you on the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be running the full-time act tour in the 12. And then I'm still looking for sponsors, like I said in the last one. So if anyone wants to sponsor, hit up my dad, Phil Evans, on Facebook. Um, and then I would like to thank my parents for watching in the living room, and then I think there's some other people watching. I'm not sure, but I'd like to thank them.
Well, thank you to mom and dad, indeed. Always the biggest and most important fans. And PJ Evans making it back-to-back wins here at the iAmericanCanadianTour. And looks like we've got our second place finisher, Jeff Coates, standing by with Nolan.
Well, Jeff, you come home second place, moving up a good 7 positions for you finished this race over today. You obviously finished third in your heat race earlier tonight. So overall, you are certainly on the up and up from 7th to 3rd and then from 9th to 2nd to finish off what overall I would call a very successful race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. The it's so hard to pass here, and getting through the back wasn't an easy thing, but we made it. So I burned my stuff getting through the back, like I said. But these guys at the front were so fast; it was so hard to pass. So we'll come home with a second. That will be okay.
Yeah, quite the fight there with Aaron Plemons in the closing stages, even as you took the 3rd spot over for Casey Beattie before that green-white checkered finish. Why don't you talk us what it was like you're having to lean so much on the doors of these drivers to make these passes happen?
Yeah, we don't want to get rough when we pass cars, but we had no choice. It was too tough to pass on the inside, and guys, they didn't want us to get on their outside, so we had to make the move on the inside. It's thick a couple of times, and we banged some doors, but it was a good old short track racing, I guess.
Stafford Speedway coming on up next week. It'll be a track where we'll hopefully be seeing the yellow flag out a little bit less. What's your take as we get set to go back to half-mile track racing?
It will be cool to be back at Stafford. I really like this track, and it's a track where I'm fast. When we're looking forward, we'll try to get a win next time. So tired of 2nd and 3rd, so we'll try to get a win.
Before I let you go, then here, Jeff, anybody you'd like to shout out for that GP machine out there that helped you get up onto that podium?
All my sponsors, Clément Poulin Pièces d'auto, Garage Mini Mécanique, KF Comptabilité, Construction Iota, the Garage HLS Bégin, and all of you guys for a great broadcast, and looking forward to the 2023 ACT season.
And thank you for taking the time to join us up here, Jeff. Congrats on the 2nd place finish. Best of luck next week in Stafford.
Thank you, guys.
And looks
going to move us on down then to, I believe, the final podium driver, and that'll be the likes of Aaron Plemons standing by with you, Joey.
Yeah, got Aaron Plemons. Congratulations on the 3rd place finish here tonight, Aaron.
Thank you.
Now, a little bit of an up and down day for you, but you got to be happy with spraying some champagne, especially I think you were outside the top 10 in the first round, so this one has got to feel good.
Yeah. Hickory, that's these first 2 tracks in this series, Hickory and Loudon, are probably like my worst tracks in iRacing. So when I saw they were the first 2, I'm like, yeah, it ain't gonna be good. So I'm actually quite happy to get a top 3 here.
Well, okay, so let's talk about the racetracks then. If you're not too thrilled about these first 2, what do you think about Stafford Motor Speedway, the next one?
I think I'll be pretty decent there. I have a lot of laps here in this game, or simulator, sorry, but I have a lot of laps there, and I think that'll probably be my best shot at winning. Thompson as well, I'm pretty decent. Oxford, I really don't know, but I think Stafford, I have a way bigger shot than the first 2 we just ran.
Well, and now that you've got a good finish here, and I would say a solid finish from race 1, you got to think you're moving up in the points. Are you going to be a contender and start to roll off these top finishes and maybe battle it out for that championship at the end of the season?
Yes. Yes, I'm confident I will make a decent. I don't know about PJ. PJ won the first two, so it's only I think 6 races in here. So all has to do is finish. But I'm gonna try to give him a really big run. But yeah, I do believe I can make a decent run at it.
Well, you hear it here. Watch out for the number 67 of Aaron Plemons. And before I let you go, tell us, are you a real world racer? And what do you race? Where do you race? And anybody that you want to say hi to or any sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, I run a street stock at Thompson Speedway, association with Thompson. So, yeah, it's gonna give a shout out to JHDD Graphics for making my cars look beautiful in iRacing. He does also my graphics work in real life, so he's a really big part of it. It cuts me out good deals, makes very good stuff right here on iRacing in real life. I gotta give a shout out to all my guys that are watching: Ethan, Coley, Colin, Andrew, Potter, Tim, Zach, everyone that's racing or watching. Sorry.
Well, that was Aaron Plemons, driver of the number 67 machine, coming home in the 3rd place position tonight. And that's going to wrap up our broadcast. We want to thank tonight's race sponsors, GossCars.com and Hard Brothers Racing, as well as our broadcast partners, Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Competizone. Calling the action tonight was myself, Joey Atterbury, alongside Nolan Rempel in the booth and Ryan Bauer producing. Don't forget, round 3 of the iACT Tour is 1 week from today, March 12th at Stafford Motor Speedway. As always, we would like to thank our viewers for tuning in to tonight's racing action, and a special shout out, of course, goes to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing action to you. Be sure to stay tuned to all of our social media pages, and we hope to see you at our next event. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment, and we wish you all a good night.